Hi. Are you playing Elite for the first time? Or maybe you've been playing for a while and want to know more about the backstory and the setting behind this engaging and immersive space simulator. If this is the case, then this is the guide for you. This is the first in a series of guides designed to take you on a tour of the universe of Elite and the characters you meet in there. In this first guide, we will learn about the state of affairs in the universe, how we got to where we are now, and more importantly why you're a pilot in a ship doing whatever it is you choose in the freedom of space. The current population of the known universe is around 9 trillion. This may sound like an awful lot, but when you consider that this is spread out amongst the varied star systems and stations throughout human-controlled space, you can begin to picture an almost frontier-like feel to the game and its setting. At the core of this human expansion is what is called the Bubble. This is the most densely populated area controlled by the humans. Even this, however, is full of outposts, hidden worlds and criminal occupation. To understand how this expansion happened, we need to go back to the beginning. To home, to the star system known as Sol, and to the planet Earth. The start of this leap forward begins to happen in the early 2020s in Earth's history. We had a war that sent nuclear weapons across the globe and saw massive leaps in space technology and fusion power. At the end of that war, the victor had the huge job of cleaning up the damage that had been done and rebuilding our shattered civilization. Enter the corporations. These multinational organizations quickly emerged from the flames of war and with backing and funding from the government began to help with the reconstruction of Earth. Over the next 80 years, the corporations and other independent groups began to look to the rest of the solar system as a way of escaping the chaos and damage back home, and a period of expansion began. Cities were constructed in space, and soon we were colonizing planets all over our solar system. At the turn of the 22nd century, we had developed hyperspace technology, which allowed us to go even further and faster than before. Again we expanded and began to establish colonies in the nearby systems like Tau Ceti and Alpha Centauri. Continued technological development and further colonization led to the inevitable answer to the question which had been asked by humankind for so long. Are we alone in the universe? The answer was no. As we colonized, we discovered new indigenous life forms on other planets similar to our own. Unfortunately, this coexistence was not a peaceful one. Back home, the government were trying to rebuild Earth's ecosystem, and they began to hear of what the colonists were doing to these alien indigenous life forms. Sol issued a warning to the colonists. Stop this subjugation of these indigenous life forms, or we will take action. The warning fell upon deaf ears. With no other option, Sol sent out a police force to stop the actions of the colonists, and in the very first interstellar war, brought them back under a more central form of control. This led to the formation of the first intergalactic superpower, the Federation. Under the Federation's watchful gaze, we continue to expand and colonize. The development of terraforming technology fueled this expansion more, and when Mars was terraformed, it looked like we were stepping away from our warlike origins and gracefully entering a new era of utopia. But this was not to be. Soon news reached the Federation that a colony on a planet called Aknar was growing quickly, and in doing so had allegedly committed genocide by wiping out the alien indigenous life on the planet. They responded swiftly and sent a war fleet to Aknar. Another battle commenced, and this time the colonists on Aknar won. Out of the victory they formed the new Aknar Empire, based on the imperial civilization of Earth's past, and very soon the empire spread its control and dominance to the surrounding systems. War once again was inevitable. Hostilities between the Federation and the Empire continued for another 50 years, and the war gave rise to newly formed interstellar corporations like the Sirius Corporation. The war also fueled new technologies, and soon both sides had huge space stretchers or megaships at their disposal, which supplied their fleets in the front line. Eventually the war took its toll, and both sides agreed to peace in 2380, and a new Cold War dominated the 25th century onwards. Both superpowers moved to control what few colonies were left, and as they started to rearm, we began to see the development of some very familiar spacecraft coming off the production lines. Vessels like the Sidewinder and the Python entered into service. Eventually, this domination had an unexpected result. On the planet at Alioth in 3230, the planetary government broke away from both the superpowers and invited all independent systems to join them in forming what is now called the Alliance. The Alliance gave the independent systems a chance to escape control from either the Empire or the Federation, and many of the previous incarnations of the Elite games occurred during this time. This sets the scene for what can be called more recent history. I hope you have enjoyed listening to this brief history of Elite, and I look forward to continuing the story very soon. Thank you very much for watching.